Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. This week, we have been focusing on the call of God on your life. What does it mean to be called, and how do we as believers respond when we are called? What do we do? Sometimes when God calls you to do something, oftentimes when God calls you to do something, it requires a step of faith. I shared a story with you earlier this week about Noah, and God gave him great detail to the point of measurements and numbers, and he gave him great detail in what he was calling him to do. But sometimes God doesn't give us all that detail. He requires a step of faith, a step of trust to believe, have faith that he will reveal to us what we need to know when we need to know it. And gosh, that takes faith, doesn't it? Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about Abraham. Abraham was an incredible man in the Old Testament. His story is found in Genesis chapter 12, at least the portion I want to read to you today. And God calls him out to leave everything that he knows, everything that he's accustomed to and comfortable with, completely called out from his homeland. And yet God gives him promises, but he doesn't give him clear destination. He doesn't tell him clearly where he's going to go. He says, follow me, trust me. Let's pick up his story in chapter 12, verse 1 of Genesis. It says, the Lord had said to Abram, leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. Isn't that crazy? He doesn't just say, hey, come on. He points out, for you to follow me, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you leaving your homeland, your comfort, your family, your friends even. I've called you to step out. Makes me think of a modern day missionary. But he says, follow me, and I will show you where you're headed. It goes on and it says in verse 2, I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. Verse 4, so Abram left as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old. Yes! Pastor always says your call, your purpose on life, it doesn't expire, right? You don't hit an age and God's like, all right, you're done. No, as long as there is breath in our lungs, God has purpose and call on your life. I love that Abraham was called at 75. And when he set out from Haran, he took his wife Sarah, his nephew Lot, all his possessions that they had accumulated, and the people they had acquired in Haran, and his household. And they set out to the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. You see, for Abram to obey, to say yes to God for the call on his life, it took a literal step of faith. He literally said, now we don't know time frame here, it's from sentence to sentence, but it says God said go, and next sentence, Abraham, it says he went. Now, I don't know if that was like instantaneous or if there was a little time of preparation, but regardless, he was quickly obedient. There wasn't a hesitancy, there wasn't a ponder, there wasn't a let me think about it. He just acted. But also, he stepped out in faith. Sometimes when God calls you to do something, it requires tremendous faith where you don't have all the details. There's some of you where God has called you to leave a job, and yet you're not sure what the next one is, but you know there's a stirring in your heart. There's some of you that God has called you to maybe switch degrees in school, and you're thinking, but I thought I was... But you know that God has spoken to your heart. There's some of you that God has put a passion in your heart and he's prompting you to step out and act on that passion for him. You need to listen to that voice, pray about it, but also act. You have a situation where you can choose to act in obedience and not need, I know it's hard, but not need all the details right at once. But trust, just as like with Abraham, that God says, I will show you. I will bless you. I will walk with you. I will lead you. Do you trust him? Do you trust him? Do you know his voice? And do you respond with a yes when you hear him speak? God is speaking to you today. What are you saying in response? Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for another daily dose for spiritual growth.